Chug it down. Chug it down. Are we live? Hey, it looks like we're live. Do we have sound? Yeah, sounds like we have sound. Okay, cool. So I can go ahead and get this thing kicking. Let me do some social media posts here real quick. I will regale you with my origin story while we're at it. So give me a hot second here, and then we're gonna get to work today. So, there's that. There's that. Come on, Kearney. Let's see. Live stream design. Copy paste. Live stream design. Updating. Fighter. Converting the 2024 fighter to the martial powers system for DMsGuild. System for DMsGuild. There we go. And I've got that. Okay, I can officially point and click like that. And now I can start actually updating. There we go. Okay, great. So, origin story, huh? Hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish online. I've been DMing since 1987. I've been creating content on the DMsGuild since 2017. I've been a Magic enthusiast since 1990. I don't see 1994. But so we're creating a martial power system. If you check in the description down below and here on screen, you can see the color mana spell point variant rule system. It's basically what started off with when Ravnica, Strixhaven, Theros came out for Dungeons and Dragons. There was I think a large contingency of folks that thought that we'd have some cool stuff to hear about color magic and how mana can work instead of using spell slots, and that didn't happen. So that's what kickstarted me creating 5th edition content for D&D on the DMsGuild, creating a color mana system, the color magic paradigm to replace the 8 schools, and the color mana system to replace spell slots. The system works great, but it's only for spellcasters. So I wanted to have all 13 classes use the same color magic paradigm, even if you aren't a spellcaster. And that's what got me to lean into the 3rd edition Book of Nine Swords, the martial magic. We're calling it martial powers here, which also jives with the 4th edition. Martial characters had powers instead of spells, so that all kind of curves together nicely. Let me go ahead and get that squared away there. Hey, if you're on the X Twitter platform, I'm at Phil Kearney. I do coupons and illustrations and different stuff that I'm working on, so you can follow me there. Would really love to have your support here on YouTube. Like, subscribe, bell icon to get notifications when I'm live in the future. We're on episode 146 of building this non-spellcasting color magic system for martial characters. We're at episode 146 right now. Here's the full playlist. Here is the Martial Powers actual playtest document that we're going to be operating inside of today that you can see. Yeah, it's here. Come on, Kearney. There we go. Fighter progression table. Yeah, this is the same document that we're working on here right now. Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica. It provides all 10 of the guilds of Ravnica as otherworldly patrons for a Warlock. We will be updating that book with the 2024 rules once I have access to them. Discord community is here. I have a Patreon channel you can follow me on. Spelljammer Combat and Exploration published in March, and we're still creating content for that to add on to it. The color mana system that you can see here. Those are all here. Yeah, there you go. So a bunch of cool stuff. Check this stuff out. So right now, okay, great. So what are we doing? Like I said, today we're going to focus on rebuilding the fighter now that the fighter content is available to us on D&D Beyond through the basic rules. I'm going to jump into the basic rules. You go to D&D Beyond here, and then you go to sources, and then drop down to the D&D free rules 2024, and then the whole basic rules for 2014. So we're going to go to the free rules in 2024, and we'll scroll down to the character classes, and we'll go to the fighter that we see here. So we have the core fighter traits, which we don't need to worry about those. Becoming a fighter, we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so great. This is what we actually need, the fighter features. So I'm going to zoom in a bit here for my blind eyes to be able to read more sensibly. Here's some of the design aesthetics that we need to think about. Okay, so we have Second Wind, and we're going to, I've got a timer going. I've got about an hour or so to play today. So let's get that out of the way. And let's see. Oh, that's right. It's all in the same. Okay, so we have this here, and so I want to pluck this out separately, and we're going to power die. We're going to right click, insert a column to the left, and we'll call this Second Wind. And what's our conversion? 2, and then 3, whatever. 3 at 4th for some reason. And then another at 10th. And then that's it. Okay, whatever. I'm sure they have. I'm sure there's some sort of design decision behind that I haven't deciphered yet. But I'm super down with having more Second Winds. That's great. There. Okay, great. So we have that, and we're going to feed in more class features as we go along here. So one of the things that we need to consider. Oh, come on. There. My mouse is being all fidgety on me today. Okay. So we have these. We have the weapon masteries table, right? And the way that we have weapon masteries built for those that are not indoctrinated yet, the way that weapon masteries work in the new system is if you have the channeling class feature, so that you can use martial powers. Spellcasters can't use martial powers, just like fighters can't use spellcasting by default. So if you have the martial powers feature and you're proficient with that weapon, you can also automatically use the masteries that weapon possesses. For non-martial characters, you can use a weapon but don't have access to the mastery. You would have to spend either a level to gain access to masteries, and when you multi-class into out of a martial power into a mastery, you don't automatically get all of the weapon mastery. Yeah, you would. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, you'd either have to multi-class into a martial class to be able to gain access to to the weapon masteries, or you could take a feat to get access to one specific with a weapon of your choice. If you're a non-caster. But that's generally how it works with, you have, the way that 2024 is written is they're handing them out like cantrips. Like, this is how many weapon masteries that you, sorry, wrong page. This is how many weapon masteries you get at different levels, as though they are treating you to a gift of cantrips, right? And there's only 8 of them, and eventually you get 2 or 3 of them automatically whenever you use a weapon. So essentially by 20th level, you get 3 for free that you can always use: Topple, Push, and I think Vex. I think those are the 3 that you can always use no matter what. By the time it's like, what, 11th level? Let's look at it. Hold on. Action Surge, Indomitable. Is it Tactical Master? When you attack with a weapon whose mastery properties you can use, you can replace that mastery with Push, Sap, or Slow. And there's only 8 of them total. So by 9th level, yeah, 9th level you have 4, and then you get 3 for free automatically. And now at 10th level, there's only 8. You get 3 for free automatically no matter what, and now you get the other 5. So by 10th level, you have all of the masteries. There's no reason for you to... Am I crazy? Hold on, let me double check. Let me double check the number of masteries that there are. Weapon mastery. Weapon mastery. Use the mastery properties. So let's... There, thank you. Let's see. Cleave, Graze, Nick, Push, Sap. Slow, topple. Yeah, there's only 8. There's only 8 masteries total already. So who fucking cares? By 10th level, you basically have all masteries. The way that it works is if you're proficient with a weapon as written currently, you have to choose to know that mastery. So you'll eventually get 5, and then you get the other 3. So this having 6 masteries, it's kind of irrelevant, because if you can already use the mastery, you can now use the push. Is that right? Let me double check that to make sure I'm not missing a detail. When you attack with a weapon whose mastery property you can use, you can replace that property with the push for that attack. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So you can always use those masteries now. So that means that the mastery table is irrelevant after 10th level. They may as well just give them all to you anyway. So that's what we did. If you're proficient, if you are a martial character defined by having the martial channeling class feature in this new system, if you're proficient with it, you can automatically use it. And we've added a number of additional masteries. The ones with the asterisks will appear on weapons, as we know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 Vex. But we added additional masteries. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We added 5 additional masteries. So with us, there's a total of 13 masteries. And if it's on a weapon, you can automatically use it. But those are the ones that have asterisks, like Impair, Step, Disarm, Addle. Those are masteries, but they don't appear on any weapons. So the way that we do it is, if you are proficient with a weapon, you have the martial channeling feature, you can you would then prepare a weapon mastery, and you would prepare a weapon mastery instead of preparing one of the various mana costing. Like, there's 150 different powers that we've built in this book. Some require mana, some don't. So when we're gaining levels as a fighter, at each level, each day, whenever we finish a long rest, we can prepare a number of powers, of which we can power up the powers, weapon masteries, which we're now calling combat masteries because they don't just apply to the specific weapon, and feats. So feats qualify as well. We'll be updating feats here as well as once we have access to those. So the fighter now already gets a stack of cantrip-like abilities. Let's go and compare that to a wizard, for instance. Let's see how that lines up. Let's open up the cleric and the wizard as well. Because wizards and clerics get both cantrips and powers. Cantrips and spells, right? And weapon masteries are essentially weapon cantrips at this point. So, how many cantrips does a cleric get? Cantrips 3 and 4 prepared spells. Then we have the wizard. The wizard has 3 cantrips and 4 spells. So, and it caps out at 30 between the two of them for a wizard, and 27 for a cleric. So taking that into account, the way that we currently have it structured, you have a total of 16 prepared powers, which is comparable to, what, the cleric? No, the cleric has 22. And the wizard has 25. That's 30. 5, 30, 30, 27, 25. Let's go with 20. Shan't we? So what do they start with again? They start with 7 and 7. So we should probably start them with 5 for the updated martial powers. So we'll have a separate. We currently have just one grid for all of them, but now we're we're going to break it down per class because we're going to have to modify the features and we'll have to see how well we can convert that out. So 5, and then maybe we'll cap this at 25. Maybe that makes sense. Let's see if we can scale that through. 5, if that scales properly. 6. This is how we make the sausage. So come on, Kearney. Oh my God, my buttons. One 7, 1 8, 1 9, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that for now. So let's see, max rank, class features. Okay, now we want to look at. Get second wind at first level now. Yeah, second wind, that's right. Weapon mastery. Let's look at fighting style. Let's see what that has to say, because I know that changed. You have honed your martial powers and gain a fighting style feat of your choice. Whenever you gain a fighter level, you can replace the feat you chose with a different fighting style. See Chapter 5. Defense is recommended. Oh, it's neat that they're offering recommendations. Let's see what these feats are. So we already have a stack of feats, fighting style feats. These feats are in the fighting style category. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's probably more of them, I'm sure. Fighting style feature. Okay, so they get weapon masteries, and they get a fighting style. Instead, we provide... Okay, so taking a look at the document as it stands, I can get rid of the cleric and the wizard to simplify my word a little bit. Back into here, if we scroll down, instead of learning a power that requires mana or learning a weapon or what we now call combat mastery, you can learn feats and fighting style. You can pick out, so you can learn as many fighting styles as you want. You don't learn them; they're not permanent. They are prepared. All of these are long rest preparations. So you can prepare combat masteries, you can prepare feats, you can prepare the powers that you have, and you can prepare damage types. So damage is also a power. Like if I'm attacking and I've chosen cold, I can always do cold damage with my weapon. So much stuff is now just force damage. It really just kind of dumbs down the diversity of damage in battle. But if your characters can prepare any type of damage that you want, that allows a DM to prepare creatures to have immunity, resistance, vulnerability, and lethality for different types of damage. So immunity means it doesn't take any damage from it. Resistance means it always takes half damage from it. There's standard damage. There's vulnerability, in which case they'll take double damage from that damage source. And then there's lethality, which is all you have to do is hit them with that damage type and they die. They basically become a minion. So like if a fire elemental creature with less than 1 hit die could have lethality against cold damage. So all you have to do is hit them with cold damage, and that less than CR1 creature dies. But like say a CR5 fire elemental might be vulnerable to cold, and it takes like say CR10 or above for a fire elemental to not have vulnerability to fire damage, for instance. So that's cold damage. That's the way you can play that, and we'll be providing comments about that throughout the book. But like boss monsters, lair actions, changing the type of damage that they're resistant to and vulnerable for is a good way to make a combat dynamic for characters and make it less, make it more of a cat and mouse sort of thing. If you can find a vulnerability or lethality against a target, then that encourages your characters to research their enemies, study, withdraw. We have the short rest, which allows you to swap in a certain number of powers, like a short prep list. And then you can go back in and attack them proper with the type of damage that you need. So some of the ideas you can play with. So let's see. Yeah, so we don't need a separate category for fighting initiate feat. Oh, come on. There. Is this on? Touch off. Thank you. It was being glitchy. Okay, cool. So fighting style feature. A fighting style feat. Fighting styles. We have those. So we don't need fighting styles listed here on the sheet because we can prepare any number of fighting styles that we want at any time. Doesn't require us a feat. Second wind, and we can get rid of weapon masteries because that's been subsumed. Second wind. We have channeling and second wind. Action surge and tactical mind. Remind me what tactical mind does. Hold on, I'm trying to. There. Let's see. Action surge, one use. Tactical mind. Let's find out. Tactical mind. You have a mind for tactics. Yeah. There you go. On and off the battlefield. When you fail an ability check, you can expend a use of your second wind to push yourself towards success. Rather than regaining hit points, you roll 1d10 and add the number rolled to the ability check, potentially turning it into, rather than regaining hit points, you roll 1d10 and add the number rolled to the ability check, potentially turning it into a success. If the check still fails, the use of second wind isn't expended. I love that it isn't expended. We integrated that into the powers that we have about 2 weeks ago. So I love that. Second wind, tactical mind. That's a good use. We'll keep that. Fighter subclass, we keep that. Four is ability, ASI, ASI, ASI. 5 is extra attack. And remind me what tactical shift does. Come on, mouse. Embarrassing me in front of my friends. Tactical shift. Whenever you activate your second wind with a bonus action, you can move up to half your speed without provoking up. That's awesome. I love that. Is that instead? Is that what it says? It says instead of, rather than regaining hit points. There you go. Cool. That'll come in handy. And then what's it called? Tactical stance. Tactical shift. I love that. That's good. And I'm fine with these. I'm fine with the second wind progression. I love that. That's going to allow us to cheat in a lot more mana, as you'll see in the future. 5 and then 6 is ASI. And ASI. Fighter subclass feature. I guess fighter is redundant. Fighter subclass. Subclass feature. 8 is what? ASI? ASI. 9 is Indomitable and Tactical Master. Indomitable. 1. And then Tactical Master is When you attack with a weapon whose mastery property you can use, you replace that property, yeah, for that attack. So we don't need that because we have the masteries already. So that gets removed. Simplify. Simplify your lie. Is there nothing at level 10? Is that a dead level? No way. Subclass feature. Yeah. And then 11 is 2 extra attacks. 12 is ASI, is that right? ASI. 13, Indomitable. 2. So it attacks. So remind us what that does. You study your opponent and learn from each attack you make. If you make an attack roll against a creature and miss, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn. I love it. And 14, what, ASI? Of course. ASI. 15 is subclass. I'm looking forward to revisiting Strix classing once I have all the information about the new system. I think there's a ton of Strix class potential with them making everything 3rd level. Good. Pardon my perfectionism. There. So far, so good. 16 is ASI. See, with us being able to use our features to gain feats, you don't get the stat increase that you would get from taking the feat with an ASI, but you don't need to use your ASI for feats now. You can prepare feats. You don't get the stat bonus, but you get the abilities gained from the feat. At 1st level, you can have a ton of feats. And keeping those feats with a 4th level prerequisite isn't a bad idea. But you could also just as easily just get rid of the prerequisites for the feats that are listed in the power list, which is what I'm thinking about doing. Just making sure that I'll double check the prereqs, but for the most part, you're preparing these things like cantrips or powers. They're magical effects that you're empowering yourself to be able to use. So removing the prerequisites to just pick them up as feats in general, the prerequisites then offset the stat gain that you get for the thing. While we're not getting any prereqs or any stat gain, you just get the thing, but you can get it at any level. So if you have a character that needs like 4 or 5 feats to do what you want your character to be, you could stack those all up in the 1st or 2nd level when you barely have any mana, so that you can lean into power and using mana later as you get more of it. How are we doing on our time? Only 30 minutes in. That's awesome. Okay, so I've got this clock and then the next clock, and then we'll have to bounce. So where are we at? 17? That's going to be subclass feature, right? Oh, no, it's at 18. Has it always been that way? Hold on. Let me cast out. Thank you. Efficient shot. Ever ready. Efficient. Yeah, there we go. $17 is Action Surge 2. Indomitable. 13, we got 2. Was it 9? 13, I like that. 9, 13, 17, that's good progression. Subclass feature, epic boon, and then 3 extra attacks. Worth. Okay, so those are the features that exist, that still exist in the book. We've removed the fighting styles, and we removed the weapon mastery list, and we removed the tactical mastery. We didn't need those. You only need the tactical mastery feature because you're restricting which masteries they have in the first place. And it allows them to further distinguish the fighter away from the other martial classes that have masteries but not as much. It is the fighter that is like the wizard of combat. It's like the wizard of martial stuff, right? So it knows more masteries than anybody else. But with this system, there are things that you prepare. So anyone can have all masteries if they really want to spend their resources on that. Let's see, ASI, and now we're going to go down to the optional class features that we have to make sure that they all jive. These are things that we created specifically. We're going to call it, we're changing the name. So there is Tactical Mind, Studied Attacks, there was Tactical Mastery. Is that it? Shift is supposed to be tactical shift, right? I believe that's true. Yeah, 5, tactical shift. Tactical mind, tactical shift, 2, 5. Is it at 8? No, it's at 9, so there's no rhythm there. Channeling, second wind, it'll be easier for us to reference it like this. Let's see. Tactical recovery. There you go. That's your name. And the way that we're going to word that is optional level 1 class feature. Tactical, we should probably go level 1 optional class feature. Because that's how we do it now. Level 1 class feature. Channeling. Tactical recovery. When you use second wind, rather than, is that how we word that now? wind. Tactical mind. You have a mind for tactics. When you fail an ability check, you can expend a use of your second wind. Push yourself towards success. Rather than regaining hit points. When you use second wind, tactical shift. Whenever you activate your second wind, they're using activate now because use is use is a word. Is a technical term now. Is that true? Activate is a technical term. When you activate second wind, rather than regaining hit points, you can regain a number of spent. You can regain a number of mana equal to the max rank of power gained as a fighter. So there you go. Ooh, neat. And this doesn't prevent you from using tactical shift with it. So when you use tactical recovery, it doesn't prevent you from using tactical shift. I like that. That's really cool. So I can regain hit points, or I can regain mana with a second wind. There you go. And the amount of mana that we recover is equal to the rank of power that we have. And at first level, we are first rank. We have mana. We have 1 point of mana on a short rest, just like a monk would have. As a warlock has, they have one. With our spell point system, they have. Here, I'll show you. Since I'm asking people, I'm only 2 sales. I believe I'm 2 sales away from gold bestseller for my pay what you want spell point warlock. Here, let me show that to you here real quick. Color mana system here. You can buy the whole shebang if you want, but spell point warlock specifically here. I see it's Electrum. It's like 2 sales away from gold. I'm so looking forward to that. It's got great ratings too. 4.7, I think. 4.5 out of 5 for four reviews. So here's the full mana. We're going to skip past the DMG format because we don't know if they're going to keep spell points in the DMG or not, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped it to keep things simple, but our mana system is better anyway. It's 1 point per level of spell. You can spend a total of 10 mana on spells by upcasting at a 19th level. And a points, you know 2 spells, and you can cast 1 per short rest. You regain it all on a short rest, so as you go from level 1 to 20, by 20th level, you can cast 4 5th level spells per short rest. And once you get Mystic Arcanum, that clicks in with 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and a 10th level spell slot, which you can spend. You gain long rest mana that can be, you can spend this long rest mana to cast Pact spells up to 5th level if you want to. You can't use Pact Magic to cast High Magic, which is 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th level spell slots. So you get long rest mana to cast your High Magic with. So you can see here, it takes, and it's 1 point per level, right? 6, then 13, then 21, and then 30, and then 40 is how much it takes, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 equals 40. So we get 6, half step, 13, half step, 21, half step, 30, half step, and then 37, and then 40 finally at 20th level. So at 20th level, we have 60 mana total, 20 on a short rest and 40 on a long rest. Pardon me for a second. Excuse me for a second here. yeah, so you can check this book out, see how the system works. If it's something you think is cool, spend $1 on it so I can get credit towards my gold medal status, and God bless you if you do. So let's see, back into the system here. Yeah, so we have tactical recovery. That jives with tactical mind, tactical recovery, tactical shift. It's a shame we don't have more tactical shit that we can do at higher levels. 1, 2, 5. Well, we did have tactical mastery at 9, and we did away with that. Bah, fuck it. But I do want to make. I do. Nah, we're good. I had a thought. There's a martial strike that allows you to add damage when you use a weapon mastery, but I don't need to change the title. The title's still good. Let's see what else we got grooving in here though, real quick. Let's double check the language on action surge to make sure it knows it is what it think it is. You can push yourself beyond your limits on a turn. You can use one additional action. Accept the magic action. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. Starting at 17th level, you can use it twice before a rest, but only once on a turn. Cool. Okay, so let's look at the rest of the features. Tactical shift. Tactical recovery was good. Empowered maneuvers. Let's add that to first level. We're getting a lot of shit at first level, but I think everything does. Channeling, comma. Empowered maneuvers. Second wind and tactical recovery. Let's one, 2 on the cleric. 1, 2, 3 on the cleric. And the fighter. 1, 2, 3 features. No, I'm good with that. And then empowered maneuvers. When you activate, begin at second level during combat. When you take the attack action, you can forego any number of attacks to gain an equal number of temporary mana to channel a maneuver as a bonus action. Yep, that still drives. Powers and class features that increase the number of attacks you can make during the attack action can be sacrificed this way as well. For example, a 20th level fighter sustaining frenzied attacks. Sustaining frenzied attacks makes 5 attacks as an attack action. If you sacrifice all 4 attacks, you gain 5 temporary points of mana to channel a maneuver as a bonus action. Yeah, still legit. Empowered attacks. 5th level. Tactical shift. That's obnoxious. Extra attack. Empowered attacks. Wait a second. Why is that? It's not in order. Why aren't these in order? Cleric. Spellcasting, then Divine Order. That's out of order. Fighter. Action Surge, Tactical Mind. Extra Tactical, ITIS, AI. Huh. Don't know why those. I don't know why spellcasting is out of order like that. It's weird. Extra attack. Empowered. I really need to have empowered attacks. Level 1 optional feature. Level 5 optional class feature. Begin at first level. No. Beginning at 5th level, when you take the attack action and hit with the first attack, you can forego your second attack to gain a temporary point of mana to channel as a strike. For example, when a 9th level fighter takes the attack action and hits with the first attack, you can forego the second attack and burn 2 mana in your pool. Powers and class features that increase the number of attacks you make during your attack action can be sacrificed this way as well. For example, a 20th level character, bop, 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 brr, brr. And expend channel with 3rd rank powers. There we go. 11th level, you can forgo up to 2 attacks when you hit with an attack during the attack action, gaining 2 temporary mana. At 20th level, you can forgo up to 3 attacks. Powers and class features that increase the number of attacks you can make during the attack action can be sacrificed this way as well. For example, a 20th level fighter sustaining frenzied attack makes 5 attacks as an attack action. If you hit with your first attack, you can sacrifice the remaining 4 attacks to gain 4 temporary points, to gain 4 temporary mana to channel a strike power. Indomitable Power modifies 9th level variant class feature. There. Level 9 variant class feature. Indomitable Power modifies Indomitable. When using Indomitable Power to reroll a saving throw you fail, you can also reroll any number of power dice channeled during the save. Indomitable Power. So we're going to replace Indomitable with Indomitable Power. So let's see what the proper text on Indomitable now is. There you go. Okay. If you fail a saving throw, you can re-roll it and any power dice with a bonus equal to your fighter level. use the new result. And you can't use this feature again until you finish a rest. Long rest, until you finish a long rest. You can use this feature twice before a long rest. Twice at 13th level, and thrice at 17th level. And 3 times. There. Optional feature, power surge. Let's go to level 10. Optional class feature, power surge. Do I need this? At 10th level, when you use, well, I certainly don't need to repeat it. When you use action surge, you also gain a number of temporary mana equal to your max channel limit gained as a fighter to use until the end of your turn. Any temporary mana. I don't think I need this feature anymore because we've got we have more uses of second wind now, so I don't need to give you the power surge. You can just use action surge. I like that, so we can just eliminate that. Perfect. Simplify our lives. So how are we looking? Feature, channeling, empowered maneuvers, second wind, tactical recovery. There and there. Power. Let's see. Fighting style. Let's see. Fighting styles. Weapon masteries. Tactical mastery. The fighting style, weapon mastery, and tactical mastery features have been redundant with the channeling class feature and have been removed. So have been removed. Design notes. The fighting style, weapon mastery, and tactical mastery features are redundant. Have been integrated into the channeling class feature. So they have so they have been removed. Period. There you go. Great. Is that it? Are we done? Is the nightmare over? Wow. Okay. This fits on one page. And this fits on one page. So granted, we don't have second wind fully listed, action and surge fully listed. Yeah. But yeah, those are the revisions. So, hey, sucks. D&D and MTG. What are SAZZX, D&D and MTG? Oh my God, you're a D&D and MTG enthusiast. What am I making? Well, I'm about to exit for the day, so but I stream fairly often. If you check in the description down below, if you're not already familiar with it, you can take a gander at the 5-color mana spell point variant rules that I publish on the DMsGuild. This is going to go under a huge revision when the 2024 books come out, and I'm beginning that process. What I'm actually doing right now is building martial powers. And martial powers is an alternate magic system for martial characters to have prepared powers, which could also include feats, weapon masteries, and damage types. But spend mana, you do a thing. Like for example, spend. Let's go down to something that's interesting. Countering attack is a reaction, so it costs 2 mana to do it. As a reaction to when a creature within range of your weapon attack casts a spell, make an attack. If it hits, the target takes damage and must make a Constitution saving throw against your channeling DC or half the damage dealt, whichever is greater. If the save fails, the spell is disrupted as though affected by counterspell. If the attack misses, restore the mana to your mana pool. So reposition, interpose. Interpose is a reaction. Let's go down to an exploit here real quick so you can see some interesting stuff as well. Let's see. First strike. That's an MTG term. When you roll initiative, it costs 3 mana. When you roll initiative, if an enemy is within range of your weapon attack, make an attack roll against that enemy instead. The result of the roll is your initiative count in addition to dealing any damage if the attack succeeds. And if it does, it's treated as a normal attack, so you can either channel a weapon mastery if you have one that you want to use with your weapon. If you've prepared any masteries so that you can use them with any weapon, called a combat mastery. It's basically a cantrip. It doesn't cost you any mana to use it. Or you could use a strike power, which is like a paladin smite. When you hit something, you spend mana, you deal damage, and you do an effect. The effect that you deal depends on what it is. Like, for example, goading strike. Let's go with a better one. Let's go with provoking strike, which is a 3rd rank. Your weapon can deal psychic damage and adds 1 power die per mana burned. The creature can only attack you until you lose line of sight, or you're incapacitated. The creature can attempt to end it on a saving throw. So this is a mana system that we created for non-spellcasters. But if you check out the DMsGuild here, we'll start with the revised color mana list. This is a project that converted the 8 schools of Magic paradigm into the MTG system. So we have some aspects of colors. You may or may not agree, but these are just general terms that exist inside of D&D that we can translate into the flavor of colors, like blue, like air, illusion, mind magic, suppression, water, versus black, which is like control. There we go. Control, entropy, fear, soul, darkness. Divinity has healing, light, protection, restraint. Divinity and soul magic, white and black, are both like into reincarnation and stuff like that, like resurrection. Animals, healing, plants, nature, spirits for green. And then we have the damage types, white, blue, black, red, green, and the 10 types of damage that exist. It's like psychic damage is generally white, blue, and black magic, while poison is black and green magic, lightning is red, fire is red, force is white, blue, and red. So if you take these aspects of magic and combine them with the type of damage that spells do, you get a color magic spell list. So each of the, when a spell would qualify for a color, you can cast it with that color. Like for example, Ray of Frost does cold damage. So white, blue, and green generally does cold damage, white, blue, and green. So a cold based spell, but like light is white, right? Because that's how white works. Let's see. Shillelagh is green. Shocking Grasp is red. It's a lot of common sense stuff. Chromatic Orb does all types of damage, so you could technically cast it with any color spell, even though you could decide what color it is after the fact. So, yeah. And so the mana system, so strap in, check this out. If we go to the core mechanics book here, and you click on it, and it opens. There we go. Okay, so there's a mana system. The mana point cost for mana is a 1-to-1 ratio. So a first level spell costs 1 mana. And here's your progression. From level 1 to 20, a wizard, cleric, druid, full casters end up with 80 points of mana. And at 19th level, they can put up to 10 mana by upcasting in at a time. You have half casters like paladins, rangers, artificers. They're half casters. So on a long rest, they have up to 40 mana. The warlock and the monk have short rest mana that they get back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And like the Eldritch Knight and the Arcane Trickster, at 3rd level, they start gaining mana with 3 at 3rd level up through 20. We have a separate book. And again, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So first level spell only costs 1 mana. And when you're casting, if you're not just using, like magic can just be narrative. You can just have 20 points and spend them on whatever spells you want. But if you want to get really hardcore about it, you pick spells based on your mana. Like if I'm a Gruul Druid, I only have red and green mana. So I'm going to be able, when I learn spells, or when I prepare spells, I'm going to, by nature, be able to prepare red and green spells. Produce flame, poison spray, whatever. These are spells I prepare. If my red-green druid wants to cast a white spell, I can either research it so it's permanently red or green for me instead of white, or I can learn it, I can prepare it for the day as white, and then I can prepare it again to change that white into any color that I want, red or green in this instance. When I get bonus spells for my subclass, they are literally any color that you want. So red and green for all the druid spells that I would get off that list. So you have a little bit of a limiting on power. And again, this is self-imposed. So if you want to say I've got 15 points of red and 20 points of green, when I'm out of red mana, I can't cast any more red spells. But anytime I take a short rest, I can recalibrate the color. I can devote the mana I have left to any color that I want. So if I need more, if I've burned out all my red and I need more green, I've still got 17 points left. Maybe I'll put 7 points into red and the rest are the other 10 are into green. So whenever I finish a short rest, I can swap those out. But narratively, I could just say I am a red-green Gruul Druid. I have 35 points. I can spend them on anything that I want, but I'm only going to be able to prepare red and green spells like I just described. But I can use any color mana I can use any points that I want. Or the third degree is I'm going to cast any spell that I want, completely ignore the mechanics of color mana, but when I cast Alarm, because I only know red and green, I'm going to describe that alarm spell as though I cast red or green magic, for instance. So it's your decision as a player to decide how hard you want to lean into this stuff. So if I'm playing a Quandrix character that's blue and green out of Strixhaven, I can decide that I'm just going to play my character like normal, but I'm just going to say I use red and red and blue magic, like described in the Strixhaven book, or I can lean into it. It's like I can use mana any mana I want, but I'm only going to pick red and blue and green spells for Quandrix, and then I'm going to be willing to pay extra or research spells to get more into that list, so it's more efficient for me. Or you can go hardcore, where I have this many many blue spells and this many green spells, and I have this much green mana and this much blue mana. When I run out of green mana, I lose my green spells until I recalibrate and devote new mana. So anyway, I'm being redundant, but that's the system. And this whole book, all these books break down how to use that system. The first book I published was Knights and Tricksters in 2018, and I've been using it at my table from level 1 to 20 in campaigns that I've been running since then. And I've been adding more books as we go, as I continue to play and playtest this with my home tables. I keep adding more books to the array. We've got spell point sorcerers coming out. We've got spell point artificers heading out. We're going to rebuild spell point warlocks. We're going to rebuild the core mechanics. We're going to integrate this revised color mana spell list into the core mechanics. So, and I'm going to be doing all this on stream as well. So this is what I do. I make books. I stream them. So, and yeah, it'll all be on the DMsGuild. So, but once all these core books get published, I'll then be able to, like the Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica, for example. I'm really riffing, but my day's over, basically. My lunch is over, so I'm going to go. I got to bounce out of here in a minute, but I just wanted to brag this stuff up. We created the Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica, me and a bunch of other DMsGuild producers. And basically what this does is it reimagines all 10 guilds as otherworldly patrons for your characters to become guild mages, which are basically warlocks that have made a pact with your guild so that you are an Azorius guild mage, which means that you are in a warlock that has a pact with the Azorius guild. And you get special subclass features for doing so. The Azorius Senate, we have all 10 of them, bonus spells and different features, so you can check this out. Of course, I do all the artwork because I was an artist before a game designer. So all the artwork that are in my books are always my stuff. So you can check these things out. And then we also have, this was I think we made this 3 years ago. Jeez. Some of the art needs to be updated. But we also have, we had created alternate pact boons that are keyed to different colors. So there's 5 boons to 5 different colors. And we have 5 subclass, not subclasses. We have 5 invocations that hinge off of the pact that you've chosen. So there's all these different boon invocations, and then we have just a bunch of just added Magic the Gathering flavored invocations in general that let you do stuff. So you can check this thing out too if you want. We're gonna have to update all of these books because of 2024 and the amount of time I've spent with these systems in my own home campaigns. It's evolved, but I haven't updated the books because I knew I'd have to do an update eventually, and here it is. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. We got the Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica, and then we actually have the Color Mana Spell Point bundle. The Elemental, of course, Rip, the Monk of the Four Elements, but this is a really cool book. This converted the Way of the Four Elements into a half-casting class that used red, blue, and green mana to basically cast all the spells and we expand the list out to 50, including cantrips, to make them basically a half-caster using the system. And we also introduced the Elemental Key system, which is Air, Earth, Fire, and Water, which is the elemental paradigm, where all of your powers are broken down into either air, earth, fire, or water. And if you are an avatar of elements, then you can choose multiple elements, but it has the same restrictions. Gust is an air discipline, so you have to have air mana to be able to use it. Or you can just narrate, I'm going to spend some of my air mana. I'm going to spend mana and cast this, use this discipline, and I'm going to describe it as an air effect. You can do it. Like for example, what's a good example? Come on, Kearney. Where is it? Oh yeah, it's second level. Hold Person. There you go. Hold Person, because the discipline here is described as Clinch of the North Wind, that makes it narratively air. So when we described it, it would be air. But if you're just doing narrative, you could make it earth, and that whole person is basically earth just wraps up around and binds your character, and they're paralyzed because they're covered in stone that they can't break out of yet, for instance. So there's a lot of different ways. You can either lean into mechanically, or you can just leave it looser, but we're providing a narrative with reasons for why something would be air, or why something would be blue, or red, or whatever. Hammer, rock, like paper, rock, scissors. This is why this is paper instead of scissors. It's just a magic paradigm. The 8 schools of magic are self-descriptive about what each of those schools are, and then a spell is allocated to it. But it's just narrative. You can spend your spell points or your spell slots on any spell that you know, and it's abjuration magic. That doesn't mean anything. It's just abjuration. It's just a way to categorize it, but it doesn't have any kind of visual effects. With this system, when you're using color mana, if I hit you with a red fireball, there's going to be red magic popping off, and you're going to see it. When you run across a chest and it has a light white magic coming off of it, it's probably warded. But when you fight a demon and its eyes flare black when it hits you with a spell effect, you've got a pretty good idea of what's coming your way. Probably something necromantic, something maybe a force effect, acid, poison effect, or whatever spells it has. Maybe it's gating in more demons with its black magic, right? Or maybe its eyes flare red and it hits you with a searing bolt instead. Meanwhile, the angel that it's fighting also flares red and it hits that demon with a searing bolt as well, maybe. Who knows? You know, whatever. I'm just making shit up as I go along. But color is such an expressive narrative. It's really fun to be able to bind a mechanic to it. Like when I'm casting a red spell, I'm actually using red mana on a spell that's defined as red. But like, I just threw a fireball at you and I used blue magic to do it. Interesting. This character knows stuff. Do they have a magic book? Because if they do, we can steal it. And maybe they have fireball in here that's been coded to blue. So now my Azorius character can add fireball to the list and not have to double dip it, because you're getting the research for free out of the magic book that you're stealing. So you have a reason to go do research, or to hunt specific sages to learn magic, or to attack different facilities that have spells like the Azorius Senate's Master Catalog may have every single spell in existence coded as blue or as white, but you won't have access to it until you hit like renown 3 times the level of spell. It's like if you want to learn a 9th level spell that would normally be black, but you want to learn it as white, the Azorius Senate can provide that to you, but you have to have 27 points of renown with Azorius Senate to get access to that archive. So it's like a lot of really fun ways you can lead. Like Strixhaven can be built all around that. Having a renown system inside of Strixhaven that dictates what levels of access of library you get access. Like that's the restricted zone. You don't have access to that until your renown is above 40, and now you get access to all this like meta narrative. Anyway, there's a lot of fun ways to play with it, but that's the DM's Guild core mechanic stuff that I've been building. So the martial power system that I've been building here online for the past year, it utilizes the mechanics as well. All the martial characters become half casters, and like a paladin or a ranger could then choose. I could either prepare spells, or instead I could prepare some of these as powers. So I could have a mix of spells and powers on my characters. Artificers are spellcasters. They don't get power, but they could use their infusions to infuse an object with a power that they've decided to learn how to use. So artificers get to dip into it. Warlocks can use invocations to learn powers, but otherwise are limited to spell casting. So the martial and then full casters don't have access to powers at all. So there's this nice strong division between state and church as far as powers and spells go, but they use the same mana pool. So you can have a sorcerer barbarian, like a sorcerer of storms and a barbarian of elemental magic or whatever. And you can lean into all these like red and blue effects and green if you want to, whatever, pick your color of choice. But you can lean into that magic with your sorcerer and double down on it with powers that are using like fire and lightning damage, for example. So a lot of fun ways to be able to express characters. And once we get all these things published, I can build like a Dimir Mind Spy that uses a mix of spells and magic. It's like maybe it's a rogue, like an arcane trickster rogue for Dimir, that has a mix of both powers and spells that it can use with this blue and black magic to become a spell-empowered, magic-toting, mana-spending assassin. So anyway, there you go. That's the system, and my session's technically over. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning to probably continue Martial Powers work, and I'm going to be back. Yeah, we'll do the Rogue tomorrow. We'll be back on Monday morning to continue art for the Eberron adventure that I'll be publishing. I have my playtesting for the Martial Power System at level 6 on Monday night. Anyone that's interested in participating in that, you can join my Discord link here and just say, hey, I'm interested. I want to participate. Oh, yeah, and you click here. This is my Patreon page, but in the About page here, here's my Discord link. Go to. And there you go. Accept invite. There you go. You're invited to my Discord channel. Be welcome. And while you're here, you can check out some of the stuff that I have on Patreon if you're interested in participating. People that are a $1 or more Patreon member have preference for a seat at my playtesting tables. If we have too many people that are playtesting, the people that are patrons get a seat, and then people that are there for free, they might get sidelined. So if you're interested, you're certainly welcome. We'll be doing spelljamming playtesting later on as well. I'm here Monday through Friday in the mornings. I'm here at lunch on Tuesdays and Fridays. I stream in the evenings on Thursdays, and I have a Saturday morning stream as well, including tomorrow. So that's it for now. I'm out of here. Thanks for asking questions, man. I love this stuff. And if you guys dive into it, I hope you love it too. So I'll see everybody on the other side. And I am out of here for now. Cheers.